Hello, and welcome to Brand Clarity by Visions2images, where we focus on strategy and business development for entrepreneurs at all different levels through branding and digital marketing techniques. Susie Liberatore is the founder and art director of Visions2images Creative Services, LLC. For the last decade, she has personally been instrumental in bridging gaps between the global digital market and neighborhood locations for some of the biggest brands around. Growth is possible for even a single location with the right professional branding techniques and Susie's signature strategies of Visions2images. Stand out from your competitors and bring your visions to life while watching your sales skyrocket. Your host for this is Susie Liberatore, owner of Visions2images.
Hello, everybody. Today I have Dawn Sinkule on the podcast, and she's with Digital Dawn, an e-commerce agency. And I'm super excited. We met a couple of months ago in the mastermind retreat, and then I just got to see her in Vegas. So it's been super fun getting to know her and knowing all of her amazing skills. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Great to be here.
And just so you know, she has a little puppy that she got from Vegas, which is going to be a huge story. And the puppy is sitting with her on her lap right now.
Little puppy on my lap. Yes. He's sitting with me. There is a marketing story to be had on all things. Yes. So that's for another day. You'll have to, you'll have to listen and watch all the things that will be happening with little Vinny here. He will be coming out large and in charge as part of a great way to buy a dog in Vegas and use him as a marketing tool.
My dog is over here being all crazy, and I'm trying to figure out what she wants. And I'm hearing her walk on the floor. So there's that.
Of course. All the things. That's all the things.
See, now I have my little dog.
Oh, so cute.
There's a little doggy on the camera.
Oh, so cute. I love it.
She's old though. She's like 10 or 11. Oh my gosh.
I have one of those too. I have two more of those, 10 and 11.
All right. So now all the dog stuff. All right. So tell us how you got started in this amazing world.
Yes. So my background is primarily all in e-commerce. So I worked as a senior executive for a major retailer here in the US, the one with the big bullseye, and had always sort of at my core, loved the exchange of goods and services. So have always really loved the retail space and the e-commerce space. And I worked there for close to 17 years and then decided I really wanted to break out and do stuff for myself. And I really wanted to start doing consulting was really what I had originally started, where I was going to go around and take all my amazing skills that I learned at corporate and, do consulting for small to medium-sized businesses. And what I came to realize very quickly was a lot of those businesses didn't have anybody to help them with all the amazing strategies that we would come up with. They didn't have anybody to actually implement. So I would go, have these marketing calls with people, and I would have these strategic conversations about finance and operations and all these other things, only to quickly realize that they never had anybody trained, or they never knew anybody, that could do this. And so they were quickly asking me, could you do this for us? Or did you have anybody on your team that could do this? So long story short, I ended up starting to hire people on my team who were marketing experts, who knew how to do Facebook ads, Instagram ads, knew how to do email marketing, graphic design, copywriting, all sorts of different things. And now here we are going into our 8th year. We have a full service. I know, I'm so excited. We're going into our 8th year, and we are a full service e-commerce marketing agency that works primarily with health, beauty, wellness brands, but we love all things e-commerce. And now we might be getting into the pet space a lot more than we thought, given all the things. So,
that's the way life goes sometimes.
Right?
Adapt.
Right. So we've been working with all sorts of different types of clients, for the last 8 years. But obviously when COVID hit and everybody decided that they wanted to get into the e-com space and start selling their things online, we really started to see a lot of different trends, and we started to see a lot of things happening in e-com that really, I think are a bit different today than they ever have been in the past.
Agreed. Right.
So, it's been a really interesting social experiment for, a variety of different reasons, but definitely from a marketing perspective, how easy it's been to get in the online space, easier than ever to start selling something, easier than ever to, be an e-com business and get your things from China and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, it's been great. And we've loved it.
Yeah, I feel like I agree 100% with everything you said, but a lot of times, like I personally know so many e-commerce brands and know that sometimes more than often they struggle because it's so competitive out there, and
right.
They can do all of the marketing. Like I have a few different people who I've talked to and they're like, I've been doing this for years and years, and my website gets some sales, but a lot of times it's through other ways they get their most sales. The online e-commerce is hard.
Yeah.
Especially now, like you said, with everything blooming and everybody's competing for that online space. So what is like a number one tool that you would say to do to get your e-com business up and running?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the things, and in that case, like you've said, you've got a lot of e-com business owners that really are, they've been around for a while, they've been doing this for a while, but they're struggling with sales. And everybody always thinks that like traffic is the number one thing. Like if I just get more traffic to my store, it's going to be amazing. I just need to do more Facebook ads, or I need to do more influencer marketing, or I need to do more, whatever fill in the blank it is.
Right.
And the reality of it is, I really feel like a lot of times you have to kind of back up and start with your website optimization, right? Like, so your conversion rate optimization, does your website actually convert? And do you understand your, metrics or your key performance indicators on your website so that you can make appropriate changes? Because anybody can drive traffic. Like you can find people to buy your product just about anywhere. You can pay for it. You can do it organic. There's all sorts of different things. But once they get there, if they don't actually purchase anything, then it was all for naught. And that's where I see so many people struggle, is they don't even stop to recognize like, oh, my website's only converting at like, 0.5%, but I've spent $1 million on Facebook ads. I don't know what's wrong. It must be the Facebook ads. Well, the reality is it has nothing to do with the Facebook ads. It has everything to do with the fact that your website's not converting. So there's a lot of different tools that you can use out there. I mean, when we start working with people, we always start with, a website audit and, things that you can do personally just to get your store. I mean, think about where your buy buttons are. Think about, is it mobily optimized? Think about, how fast your pages load. I mean, the majority of people right now are shopping on their phones. So most people are sitting on the couch or wherever they are, they're scrolling, they see an ad, or you Google something and you want to buy something and you go to the website. Most of the time, I think it's something like 75% of e-commerce store, purchases are done off of mobile. Don't quote me on that exactly, but it's something very, very high,
yeah, very high.
And if your store is not mobily optimized, and you'd think like in today's world, that wouldn't even be something you'd have to tell people, but it's pretty shocking how many people don't have a store that's ready for purchase, or they have, pop-ups that block everything. So like, I'm a big fan of having a pop-up. Like, I think those are great conversion tools. I think they work when done well. But the reality is, you can't have annoying things on your phone when people are sitting there scrolling. They have to be able to check out fast. They have to be able to close the pop-ups. They have to be able to know what you're selling. It has to be, beautifully photographed, or you have to have beautiful images. And it's only like, there's like 4 or 5 things that if you just do really well, you can instantly increase your conversions. And those things, like I just mentioned, the mobily optimized, what are you selling? Great pictures, have a button in a place that makes sense. Don't make me scroll, don't make me click 10 times to get to the checkout page.
Right.
It's really not that complicated. And that's the thing that I always tell people is like, we're not talking about brain surgery. We're not talking about things that are like, oh, you got to find a coder to do like all this kind of stuff for you. It really is stuff that you can do yourself. Depends on the tool that you're using, right? The e-commerce platform tool that you're using or whatever. We primarily work with Shopify store owners. So Shopify makes it super, super easy for any person, whether you know how to code or don't know how to code. You can fix that stuff yourself. And industry standards for e-commerce businesses from a conversion rate, like in the digital space, you hear of conversion rates, you want your website to convert at 30 or 40%, right? Like your funnel to convert at 30% is like amazing or whatever. For an e-commerce site, the industry average right now is 2.5%. So it's relatively low from a conversion perspective. So if you have 100 people that come to your website, 2.5 of them, 3 people, 2 people will purchase something on average. So think about that. Think about how many people you actually have to get to your website to actually make a decent amount of sales. So that's one. But then when you do get all those people there, you really only have to get a couple people to purchase to be in an industry average, set. So it's not hard, but it's something I see over and over and over again that people just don't take the time to do. They always think it's the Facebook ads are wrong or it's something or other. Now, I will say you have to have good products. That goes without saying. And you have to have something that people want to buy, and it has to be good quality, and it has to. So given all those things are correct, conversion rate optimization is your number one thing you should be focused on, as an e-commerce business owner. That's your main focus. And then once you figure that out, get it to industry average, then start driving traffic.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing all that. That's pretty amazing. And I was like nodding my head, like, yep, that's right. That's right. And I know like with mobile, like I was going to say exactly what you said, like mobile, we don't want to scroll to buy, right? So we want to make sure that button's there on the mobile, even on desktop, like we want to make sure everything is big, bold, buy easy. Like my biggest thing is if I can't buy it and check it out, I'm gone, right? Like that's the game. Doesn't matter what it is to me.
Right.
Anything. If I can't get it and it's confusing and frustrating, I'm gone. Yeah. I mean, even if you're a service-based industry, like you're just selling courses or whatnot, taking that as a different like approach too. It's the same thing. We have to be able to click and buy. And
I think it's like people have, like, I think now this may be not exactly right, but I've heard statistically speaking that people have attention spans of like 3 seconds or something like that on social media. So if you can't get their attention or you can't get them to the buy button or checkout button within like 3 seconds, you've lost them. So think about that. It has to be bold, beautiful, easy to get to, mobilely optimized, whether you sell e-com or otherwise, like you said. It's just crazy. I mean, 3 seconds is not a lot of time to get somebody's attention and have them check out and purchase, but you got to do what you can, right? So.
Hey there, I want to interrupt this episode with a quick message. If you're listening to this podcast episode and want to learn about branding your franchise or small business, then go to brandingbridge.com. That's branding-bridge.com.
So how do you think the online space is changing? I mean, as far as like Facebook and Instagram and like Google Shop, like there's so many other platforms that you can sell on your store, especially with Shopify. How do you kind of use that and how do you see things going?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think there's a lot of misconception right now about, Facebook and Facebook ads being dead and like it's not going to work anymore. And what I will tell you is that regardless of what rumor you have heard, Facebook is still the biggest social media platform out there and will continue to be for a very long time. Facebook and Instagram together is the largest. Those two are the largest social media platforms in the world. And the majority of people who are on social media are hanging out in those two places. Yep. So as an e-commerce business, if you don't understand that, whether you've had a bad experience or you think you don't need to be on there, you are sorely mistaken. Like that is where people are buying. That is where people are finding out about you. And even without running any paid traffic, you have to be on those social media places. It's free. Right. I mean, why wouldn't you? Organic is not dead. I do not think organic is like a thing of the past. I think the way that you look at your organic strategy has to be very, very different than it used to be back when, we were all running ads or doing things, in 2016, even 2017. You put a post up on Facebook or Instagram and it would get gazillions of views and you didn't have to pay for it. Those times are gone. I mean, it's a bigger platform. You got to pay to play, but organic is not dead. You should still have an organic presence. You should still be doing things on social media. But what I would tell you is that if you are not on TikTok right now as an e-com, or anyone for that matter. But if you are not on TikTok right now, you're missing an opportunity that Facebook used to be back in 2016, 17, where you'd get all that amazing organic reach. That's happening over now on TikTok. And you might think, oh, well, my people aren't on TikTok, so you got to do your research. I mean, I definitely think that it's not for everyone, but I heard somebody tell me the other day, well, TikTok is only for like kids, that's only for like all the teenagers. And I said, no, actually the largest group of people on TikTok right now are women ages 30 to like 45, 50. So it's us collectively over there hanging out on TikTok. We're the ones with the buying power. We're the ones with the money. We're the ones that are making the majority of the purchases. And because it's still such a new platform and because people are still, learning about it, that organic reach is still there. And so you can do some really easy posting, really easy, simple, like curated, graphic posts, videos, stuff like that. And you can get organic reach like no other. So I'm telling everybody right now, you got to get on TikTok and figure it out. It's not hard. Just, click the button and do the thing and post and see what happens. I mean, again, it's free and it's an opportunity to get your name and your business in front of maybe a different group of people than you would on Facebook or Instagram. So
yeah, I've heard TikTok is great. I, for one, have the app downloaded, but I've never really utilized it very much. But I've heard great success stories from a lot of different people. But it's just one more thing I need to add to my plate. So that's a whole nother thing. And I've also had people say, well, I don't want to be dancing on TikTok. And you don't have to be dancing. Like there's so many other ways to utilize it. And it's the same thing with Instagram Reels and stuff. Like you don't have to be dancing. And I would rather do Reels than TikTok. I don't know why, but I would rather do Reels. But regardless, at the end of the day, like we need more video. We need all of these pieces for any business.
Right. And I think that I'm personally starting to get into and on TikTok as an agency. We're just starting that for ourselves, but we've been doing it for clients for a while. And I personally have used TikTok for a while as a consumer. Like I've actually consumed a lot of video on TikTok, and you'll see all sorts of things. You will see people dancing, you will see that. But the cool part about TikTok is that you can just review other people's content as a TikTok video. So like, you don't even have to come up with your own stuff. Like some of the most popular TikToks right now are people doing, side-by-sides where they're just watching other people's videos and they're like nodding their head and commenting or being laughing and like stuff like that. So I feel like there's really no excuse for you not to be on TikTok when all you have to do is look at other people's stuff and be like, what? Laugh, chuckle, do all the thing,
That's
like
interesting. I've never heard of that one. So I'm gonna
not that hard. So probably a easy way to enter into the TikTok land, particularly if you don't want to like create. And what I will tell you is that I'm not seeing a lot of people, like the dancing thing is super funny if done right, but you don't have to be the dancing monkey to be on Reels or to be on TikTok. You can show, like for our customers, clients, I always tell them that like, do an unboxing video, like show your product in action, like show us what it looks like when I get it in my box at home, or show me what it looks like when I actually put it on or use it, or the before and afters, or, you can get really, really creative. And a lot of e-com business owners are very creative. And so just using that in a different medium, I think is super important. Like you said, you have to be on social media. Like you cannot run a business anymore and say, well, I'm not going to do social media. Like that just doesn't, it just doesn't work. It's like, oh, I'm not going to have a computer and I'm going to run a business. It doesn't work that way.
If you don't have a computer and you're running a business, I don't know how you're doing it.
I don't know how you're doing it, right? Like, I don't know how you're doing it. And the same holds true with social media. If you're running a business and you don't think that you should be on some sort of platform, it's just like any other business strategy. You take the time to create your business strategy. You take the time to create your product. You take the time to create your whatever. You've got to take the time to create social media. Do I love it? Is it my favorite thing to do? Absolutely not. I don't. But I also recognize that if I want to be a business owner and I want to be in the online space, that's part of the game. So I think e-com, it might be sometimes a little bit easier. And sometimes people think it's a little bit harder because, you got a product or a physical thing or something along those lines. But I really think I think it's a really, really cool opportunity for people to test the waters. It's a great place for new products to come. You can test to see if people are interested in new products, all sorts of stuff. So get yourself on social media.
I do like the videos. I like the reels and the TikToks. I can watch those, but I just haven't really done any myself. So.
Right. I know we all need
we all need
get it.
Yeah.
Right.
So my last question is, what would you give somebody? What kind of advice would you give somebody if they're just starting out with e-commerce?
Yeah. What I would tell you is I would go find other people that are doing it really well. Go find competitors in your space. I'm not a big fan of stealing anybody else's. So I'm hear me clearly. I'm not saying steal what other people are doing. But what I would say is somebody has done this before. You're not the first person to ever sell something online. So go find your competitor, get on their email list, buy their product, find out what their website looks like. Go through the entire experience as a customer would buying a product that is similar or something that you're emulating to get a company you're trying to work towards. And pull out pieces of that experience that you love and make it your own. I don't think there's anything wrong with being a customer of your competitors so that you can see what they're doing. You can see how they're doing it. You can use the same tools that they're using, all sorts of stuff. And I think so many times business owners they try and they go out into this market and they think, oh my gosh, I built this website. Why won't people come buy stuff thing? And nobody knows who you are. Nobody knows where you're at. Go find what other people are doing and emulate what they're doing, mimic what they're doing, use the things they're doing to get traffic and have a similar experience. So my easiest, cheapest piece of advice is go become a customer of the business that you want to be like.
I love it. It's perfect. It resonates well.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on, and I'll include your links, and we'll share this on social.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, everybody, for listening in on today's Brand Clarity episode with Susie Liberatore. 2 things. First and foremost, please, if you liked this episode, please subscribe and leave some positive reviews. Also, don't forget to sign up for Stop Sending Your Customers to the Competition and get my insider secrets to compelling branding that converts. You can find that at branding-bridge.com. It's a free workbook for you to check out right now, all of the branding techniques and strategies that I use for my paying clients.